Alright, how you guys doing today? We about to hop into Second Corinthians chapter 10. First things first, don't miss you like that video. Hit it's in full screen. Scroll a bit, like it, and then full screen it back up. Feel me. So because the last video was just me for real yapping, we not really gonna do a little update. But there was I did get yelled at by a customer 2 days ago after my brother told me how he was getting yelled at, and I said, at that point you just walk away, calm down, be the big person, walk back, come back when they're calmed down. In this case, however, I was the only one willing to deal with this customer. Not saying that I dealt with the customer, but I'm saying I was getting yelled at, and the whole time I was, I will admit I was being a little bit petty. She was mumbling something, and I walked over to her and said, "What did you say?" And she said, "Make my coffee," as she had been over and over again. I deliberately walked away to say, "What are you doing? What do you say?" Which was a little bit petty, but all in all, I forgave her halfway through. I said, "I have no problems with you." She said, "Well, I have a problem with you." You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to be the not get angry to the best of my abilities, and I didn't get angry. But I will say I didn't necessarily say, I forgive you for doing this, which I should have done. I look back and I should have done that. But, you live and you learn. I only had one other negative experience with a bad customer, and as soon as it got bad, I just walked away, So, first time I walked away, this time, I stayed through. I tried to deal with it to the best of my abilities. Can't help everybody, I suppose, but oh well. The humility and gentleness of Christ I appeal to you. I, Paul, who am timid when face to face with you, but bold toward you in a way. I beg you that when I come, I may not have to be as bold as I expect to be towards some people who think that we live by the standards of this world. For though we live in a world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. And we will be ready to punish every act of disobedience once your obedience is complete. You are judging by appearances. If anyone is confident that they belong to Christ, they should consider again that we belong to Christ just as much as they do. See, even if I boast somewhat freely about the authority the Lord gave us for building you up rather than tearing you down, I will not be ashamed of it. I do not want to seem to be trying to frighten you with my letters, for some say his letters are weighty and forceful, but in person he's unimpressive and his speaking amounts to nothing. Some people should realize that we are in our letters when we are absent. We will be in our actions when we are present. We do not dare classify or compare ourselves with some who commend themselves. When they measure themselves by themselves and compare themselves with themselves, they are not wise. We, however, will not boast beyond our proper limits, but will confine our boasting to the sphere of service God Himself has assigned to us, a sphere that also includes you. We are not going too far in our boasting, as would be the case if we had not come to you, for we did not get as far as you with the gospel of Christ. Neither do we go beyond our limits by boasting of work done by others. Our hope is that as your faith continues to grow, our sphere of activity among you will greatly expand, so that we can preach the gospel in the regions beyond you. For we do not want to boast about work already done in someone else's territory, but let the one who boasts boast in the Lord. For it is not the one who commends himself who is approved, but the one whom the Lord commends. There's a lot that I ain't getting this chapter. That sermon is gonna hit, bro. But I'm hoping that the KJV puts it in clearer words, or at least I can, look up the definitions to understand better. He's saying, in presence, I'm the least among you, but absent, I'm bold. I beseech you that I may not be bold when I'm present with that confidence. I ask you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence, for which reason I think to be bold against some. I want to be bold against some, which think of us as if we talked according to the flesh, or as we walked according to the flesh. For which reason I think to be bold against some which think of us as if we walked according to the flesh. Okay, so he's not trying to be bold against these people because they're in Christ, but he's trying to be bold against those who think of them as they walk, or as if they walked according to the flesh. And even if they were to walk that way, they don't war that way. It's not bodily, but the mighty through God to the pulling. They're not carnal, but they're mighty. Pertaining to the flesh. Okay, so that's carnal. Yeah, that as I assumed, pertaining to the flesh. But these ones, but they're mighty. They're possible, able, strong, could, power, mighty man. Able to do something, mighty, excelling in something. So he's saying that through God, our weapons are able to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God, such as science, for example. Smart people, wise people that we know they're gonna be made fools to their own knowledge if it doesn't pertain to God. And the weapon is also able, it's mighty to bring into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ, and having a readiness to revenge all disobedience when obedience is fulfilled. Is it revenging disobedience when that obedience is fulfilled, like through fulfilling obedience? Or no, you have a readiness to, or no, you're being obedient and you have a readiness to revenge it. So you're feeling as if you want to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. You're filled with the grace of God and you're saying, okay, now I don't want to do this. And that's revenging the disobedience of your sinful flesh. We don't look things at the outside, you know what I'm saying? Everything could be messed up outside. Anyway, man, think that he is Christ. Let him think this again. For if he is Christ, we are also Christ. So make a boast that, you know what I'm saying? Even though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Lord has given us for edification, not for your destruction, I shouldn't be ashamed. And he doesn't want to terrify nobody. He says his letters, they're weighty and powerful, but his bodily presence is weak. His speech is contemptible, utterly despised. Despised, giving nothing. So his speech and all that mean nothing, but his writings are top notch. They're weighty and they're powerful. And he's saying, because when he's in person, it doesn't matter if his words mean nothing. He's showing you everything. Imagine if somebody said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna dunk on everybody. I'm gonna dunk on everybody. I'm gonna dunk on everybody. They can't stop me. I go to the paint. I'm posterizing everybody on the court, right?" And he writes it down. He posts that on his IG. Boom. But when he gets on the court, he's as quiet as a mouse. But when you see him on the court, he's posterizing everybody. And then when he gets off the court, he may talk about it again. But you know what I'm saying? When he's away, he's telling you what's gonna happen. When he's there, he don't need to say it anymore. He already told you. And it's happening. Why does he need to talk about it if it's happening? You have eyeballs as much as the next guy. You can see he's getting posterized. We don't make ourselves with a number or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing them among themselves are not wise. Because like he says, people that commend themselves, pat themselves on the back, say, "Oh, I'm so wise, I'm so wise." We can kick this back to when he says the wise will be made fools, even with their own knowledge. He's comparing themselves to themselves. You're comparing what a wise man thinks is a wise man, but it's really a fool. It's fools comparing fools. The blind can't lead the blind. You need somebody who's going to see to lead you. And that's exactly what we have. We're all walking around in the dark. He was the light. So these people are all waddling around in the dark saying, "Oh yeah, we can see so well, we can see so well." While us, meanwhile, we're not saying how well we can see. He just said, but if he does, for the edification he's been given by God, he shouldn't be ashamed of it, even if he were to boast that, but he's not. But we're saying that we don't boast that, but we can see. These people, they're not wise. They can't see, but they think they can, because that's all they knew. That's all their flesh told them they knew. But they got told about a light and they didn't go check it out. They said, "Nah, that light can't exist. This is the world we live in. This is what it is. It is what it is. We came into this, blah, 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 blah. We're cool. We can see so well. You can't see better than this. It doesn't get better than this." Meanwhile, we over there seeing colors. They see it in gray because it's so dark. You know what I'm saying? I'm not boasting about it. I'm just saying that's just what it is. We don't boast out things that we don't have control over, but according to the measure of the rule which God has distributed to us, a measure to reach even you. I'm just going to check on measure. I said things we can't control, but that might not be what it actually means. I just want to make sure I'm getting it right because it's used 3 times within this verse, so it's pretty important to the verse. Things without measure. So innumerable things. Only used twice, and in this chapter, both times. We won't boast in things we can't measure. According to the measure, things we can't, to the rule at which God has distributed us, a measure to reach even unto you. So would this be grace? The innumerable, indescribable, unspeakable grace that God has? This thus says we won't boast beyond our limits. We can find ourselves boasting to the sphere of service God has assigned to us, a sphere that includes you. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to count this one in with discernment that we're gonna have to check on for real. We're not going beyond this measure. As it said, we go according to it, but not beyond it, as though we didn't reach you. For we are come as far as to you also in preaching the gospel of Christ. Right. We don't stretch ourselves beyond the measure as though we didn't reach you. For we came as far to you. So we came up to you. We're not stretching ourselves beyond as though we didn't reach you, because we did reach you. We got as far as you. Not boasting of the things outside the measure that is of other men's labors. We're not boasting on everybody else, but we're hoping and hope. We're having hope that when your faith is increased, that we shall be enlarged by you according to our rule abundantly. Just as it said in the last chapter and in the last video, you know what I'm saying? The more grace you get, or the stronger you get, the skill tree, the more you gonna go up. You know what I'm saying? And because of that, when you give grace to other people and you're sharing your grace and you're sharing the gospel, they're gonna thank God based on what you professed your gospel to be, and therefore create grace in them, and then it's a bigger cycle. So he's saying that by having hope, when your faith is increased, we shall also go up as well. Preach the gospel in regions beyond you, and not to boast at another man's land of things made ready by our hand, or to our hand. But he that glorieth, let him glory in God, for not that he commandeth himself is approved, but whom the Lord commandeth. Amen. All right, that's going to be the end of the chapter. Hope you guys have yourselves a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.